Oh man. Well, guys, I know it's almost old news now, but can we talk about the Bowerman Mile for a second?
That was a pretty epic race.
I got a bone to pick with both of y'all. Tell me why. The Bowerman Mile happened, and I was constantly refreshing the website. I was looking at Sidious Mag Instagram for real time updates.
I'm so proud
That's,
of you, Carolyn.
that's pretty serious. But I'm telling you, that 1500 is going to be the race of the Olympics.
What happens when three runners
From different parts of the country,
with different running stories,
all get together?
pure.
RunTok.
madness,
So listen in as we talk about all things running related.
and some things that maybe aren't running related.
As it's bound to be a good time. This is
Run,
Run
Talk
Talk
Live. Welcome to another episode of Run Talk Live. Hi,
Yo
guys.
Yo.
What's
is
up?
going on? It's been a minute.
Been
I
a
know.
minute.
But,
That's all.
again, it's like, three people sharing a beer or water or beer or, beverage of choice.
Well, it's also partially my fault because a power breaker decided to blow up on our island and it caught fire and blew up two other power breakers. So our entire county was without power on the day that we were supposed to record last week. So,
No, we're just going to need an apology from you.
yeah. Yeah. And it was also the hottest day of the week and our AC did not work. So I was sitting, when I messaged you guys, I was literally sitting in my car with the AC on. I wasn't joking about that.
Oh my gosh.
Good
When did you
time.
end up getting power back?
It was a little after midnight that night, so we were without it for about 5.5 hours, like somewhere around there.
Jeez, y'all didn't lose any food or anything, did you?
Well, we just didn't open the fridge at all the entire time, and we were fine. We were good. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we got food poisoning. I don't know. I think we're good.
It's fine, but it was
5 hours is not bad. Yeah.
right. There's some people in Dallas who are still without power.
Really?
Yeah,
That's right.
I
They
mean,
have crazy weather going on there, all the tornadoes and stuff.
yeah, and then it randomly rained this morning, and it was hot rain, which sucks, but it's just everywhere is flooded. So,
That's perfect running weather, Carolyn. Come on.
I had every intention to to run this morning, and the rain actually ruined it. So, we'll try again tomorrow.
Oh, well, how's everyone's running been going? Are we all in Chicago training mode yet? How are we looking? How are we feeling?
Okay, so it hit me this past week. So I am technically in like the second week of training. And my coach kind of critiques my workouts, gives me feedback. And it hit me the other day because I like ran a workout too fast. And she goes, I know you're fast, but she said, let's slow it down so we can build your aerobic base. And I was like, oh, she cares. So, I'm getting way more invested into training than I feel like I ever have. So, all good things.
Well, I'm kind of I guess I'm hurt right now. So I was kind of in a I don't want to say a slump, but running just didn't really have the I wasn't getting the excitement out of it as I normally do the last few weeks. But then we went to Michigan, went up to the lake last weekend for a friend's birthday, and I ended up taking a fall on some rocks, and I really messed up my back. So I had this whole plan that once June came around, once June hit, I was going to be like, all right, June's the restart. I'm going to go. So I was starting my strength training. I started running, but man, I am in so much pain right now. I still ran this morning, but the strength training took a back seat. So I did
And
get
you
into
just
the
solidified the reason
therapist at
why I
work
do not
today,
run
and he did
trail.
some work on me, and it feels a little bit better. But I also got a chiropractor visit tomorrow. But yeah, it hurts. I'm in some pain, and I'm also like I'm 10 pounds heavier than I was at Carmel. So I think I'm like heavier right now than I have been like going back pretty far, like since I started working with Paul. So that's been like 4 years.
So you're at rock bottom, my friend.
I am at rock bottom. I'm starting fresh, starting anew. It's like I never ran before.
Well, the good news is I feel like you get into the groove of training really quickly.
Sure, yeah, and it's just always kind of, I'm a lifelong runner, so it's natural. We've talked about it before on here. It's natural to have those little periods of burnout where you're just not really feeling it. It just kind of sucks that when I had myself psyched up to go again, I had to go and get hurt, but it'll be all right. But since I put the weight on, there was like a weight loss challenge or a summer shred challenge thing going on at our local nutrition store that I wasn't going to do because I was like, I'm not going to lose any weight. Like even though it's the summertime, I'm about as low as it's going to be. But then after I put on 10 pounds, I was like, well, heck, now I might as well do. I got a little bit of weight to lose. So I went ahead and jumped into that little competition.
You can do the not recommended fasting program that I did. I lost 12 pounds in less than 3 weeks just fasting.
Well, for me, the big thing is going to be getting back to just eating when I'm really hungry. I wasn't running and working out as much there for a few weeks, but I didn't change my diet up at all. So I was still eating the same amount of food. So that's what I've been working on for about the past like few days, is just focusing on not eating unless I'm really hungry.
I think, not to go into I'm not a nutrition professional in any way, shape, or form, but I think that it's like a real thing. A lot of people eat because they're bored, right? You're bored, you eat.
Sure.
And that's how you gain weight, or you can't go to sleep, so let's eat a snack. Like, yeah, that's a common thing, and it's such a easy and bad way to gain weight.
Yeah. I also have a problem with like not knowing when to stop either. Like if I open a bag of chips, like that whole thing is going to get destroyed.
You mean a bag of chips like this right here?
Yeah, like that right there. I will destroy that entire bag of chips.
You straight up put on the
cheddar
best
and sour cream too. Like I will annihilate that.
That's the best flavor out there. That's Ruffles cheddar sour cream. Everybody that's listening and watching right now.
I actually had a bag of those out of the vending machine yesterday, and I was like, man, I forgot how good these are.
Yeah, it's so good. And then I think back to, what was that show? It was a reality show where it was like extreme weight loss, but they would do like celebrities would go on there and do. It was, I don't remember. And they would like
Biggest Loser.
Yeah, The Biggest Loser. Yeah, that's the one. Because Screech from Saved by the Bell was on there at one point when he was still around. And I remember someone was trying to eat a Ruffles potato chip, a Ruffles cheddar sour cream, and the nutrition people got so pissed at them for doing it, and they crunched it up into a bunch of powder, and then they like put the powder out. And they're like, "This is what you're eating. Food should not turn into powder like this." And I was like, I love that stuff. Like that's my go-to snack. I keep it right by my desk. So,
well,
yeah, don't follow Jake for nutrition advice.
I think it's important to be able to eat the things that you want to eat. You just got to make sure everything's in moderation, right?
Yeah, we had someone on that said something along those lines. Who was that? She lives up there in Illinois too, I believe.
Lauren.
Lauren. We had Lauren on.
Yeah, and she said that exact same thing. She's like, you can eat what you want, but you got to eat it in moderation. Like you got to know when to stop. That made me feel a little bit better.
And I will say, make sure you get your levels checked before you start doing like all this weight loss stuff. Chase and Jake, I know you're good about it, but for the listener, because I am very deficient in vitamin D, so it doesn't matter what weight loss stuff I try. Like I gain weight in certain parts of my body because of my vitamin D deficiency, and I'm like, crap. So I mean, I'm on medication and stuff too, but like if I were to just pick a weight loss program and be like, well, I'm not losing any weight, well, maybe I need to, starve myself, stuff like that. No, I'm literally deficient in vitamin D and B12. So that's fun.
Get you some AG1.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. You've posted about that, Chase, and I'm slowly getting influenced, man.
So yeah, I mean AG1 is like their athletic greens is what it stands for. It's been around for I think about 10 years now. A lot of big podcasts like Joe Rogan, Andrew Huberman, they promote it a lot. And I finally tried it like last month. I'm on my second month's worth of it right now. But it is like $95 a month. So it's a lot. Like you get a lot from it. It's more than just a traditional greens drink. But to say that it's worth the money, I don't think I can tell you that.
So, Carolyn, I have an interesting question for you because you brought up something, and take this no other way than I'm curious about it. You're vitamin D proficient or deficient, I should say.
Deficient,
Not
yeah.
Yeah.
Not proficient.
Do you think that may have something to do with the fact that you are such a heavy treadmill runner and not going outside for your runs?
So no, because I don't really run on the treadmill anymore. I do like one to two times a week, but runners are actually those are the two vitamins that they are deficient in is vitamin D and B12. And my nurse practitioner told me, and she was like, "Are you a runner?" Yes. I had a really low heart rate. I figured that out at my dentist. That was fun. But just running, because I mean, you're sweating out constantly. It just, yeah, I was deficient in that, and then part of my whatever the bad cholesterol, I had a high number.
LDL.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. And so we put that together that, oh, shoot, that's because I'm running and I'm not replacing all of those vitamins. I'm not taking in enough electrolytes. So that's where we're at.
Well, and I bring it up, and again, I pinpoint you because you're here, but we were talking about it. So for the listener, if you guys didn't know, I recently took some RRCA coaching courses, and we go over it's a very small nutrition section because, again, they emphasized we're coaches, we're not nutritionists. But one of the things they talked about is exactly what you said, how runners are deficient in vitamin D almost naturally. And one of the suggestions was that as runners, you should try to run outside as much as possible because of that. Now, is it going to fix it? No, it's not. Like at the end of the day, you still need to be supplementing accordingly. But they were talking about the effects of treadmill running, and everyone thinks it's, bones and joints and muscles and all that, and it's not. It's if you're relying on it 100% of the time or 80% of the time, you're forcing yourself to get even more deficient in those vitamins than you would be naturally.
I will say, so I used to be a mostly treadmill runner, but I've started running outside more. I'm finding that I always take a handheld with me, so I'm getting more fluids. I find that I'm craving, like if I crave sugar, it's fruit. It's not, junk food anymore, which is really nice. So, and I do think that there is a lot of evidence, with outdoor running not being better, but also being better than treadmill running.
Here in Florida, you want to run outside even though it's humid and hot, because it's usually your treadmill is usually in your garage, and it's usually even worse in your garage. So you go outside and you suffer.
And I've realized my Garmin, so I got a new Garmin recently, and the GPS is whack indoors. So it would for the first 3 minutes of my treadmill run, it would say my pace was like a 0. Okay. And so I would get these crazy mile numbers. Like I had a mile one time that was 47 minutes, and it was like a 47-minute pace. I was like, cool. So I started running outside more, and I was like, you know what? The treadmill and I are kind of breaking up because I'm not dealing with this 47, minute pace.
Yeah, because you posted a video about that, and a bunch of it I commented on it. I saw some other people commenting on it too, and it sounds like we all said the same thing. where you can't rely on your smartwatch to give you accurate data on the treadmill. It's even if you set it, because your Garmin watch, if you didn't know, has a treadmill setting where you can set it to treadmill and do that, or set it to indoor track or whatever. It's never going to be accurate because it relies on a satellite that needs to depict your location, and it's harder to do it when you're indoors. So
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm glad you got a new Garmin. What'd you get?
The 265S.
Okay.
So it's got like the LED. Okay, well, let me take it off. But it's got all the bells and whistles on it. It's got like the readiness training. What else does it have? Like it has my VO2 max on it, time, all that business. And then the lighting is better, and it's touchscreen. So I don't know.
Touchscreens are overrated on running watches.
They really
that was.
are.
I remember that was your thing, Chase. You're not a fan of the touch screen.
Yeah, that was a big reason why I switched to Garmin from Apple Watch. The value of buttons cannot be overstated on running watches. Don't get me wrong, like touchscreens work. You know, they're cool now and then. I don't really use it on my Garmin anymore, but when you're dependent on it in months like right now, like the summertime, and even in the wintertime, obviously you're wearing gloves. In the summertime, your hands are all sweaty all the time, so you can't really depend on touchscreens.
No.
You haven't learned to use your nose?
I've done that before with my Apple Watch. Yeah, no, I have.
Oh man. Well, guys, I know it's almost old news now, but can we talk about the Bowerman Mile for a second?
Yeah, sure. That was a pretty epic race.
Right?
Your Brooks boy coming through again.
Listen, so I got a bone to pick with both of y'all. Okay. So before this, friendship started, I didn't watch crap. I didn't watch, the Olympics, really. I mean, I would watch gymnastics and stuff. I didn't have Peacock. Tell me why. The Bowerman Mile happened, and I was constantly refreshing the website. I was looking at Sidious Mag Instagram for real-time updates.
I'm so proud of you, Carolyn.
That's pretty serious. That's better than I was doing. I was on vacation, but as soon as it came up on YouTube, I pulled it up and watched it. I made everybody that was sharing a house with us watch it.
Yep.
Yeah. So thanks, guys, for that one.
But yeah, so obviously the winner was Josh Kerr.
Yeah.
Josh Kerr won the Bowerman Mile, set a new personal record. I think did he set a UK record, I think, for the mile?
Kerr's time also set a world-leading time for the season and a personal best.
Yeah, it wasn't a record, but it was the current fastest time.
Yeah, I thought maybe he set like a UK record, like for his country. Maybe not. Yeah, but so. he won. It of course, the highlight of the field was Kerr versus Ingebrigtsen. So anybody that's been following the mile right now, or the 1500 in track, knows that there's been a lot of jawing going back and forth. Of course, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, the former 1500 meter gold medalist, versus Josh Kerr, who just won the World Championships last year, beat Jakob last year at Worlds with a finishing kick in the last 200 meters. And he kept saying all through those trials, all the way leading up to the final of the World Championships, I haven't even used my kick yet. You guys haven't seen anything yet. I haven't even used my kick yet. And he showed us in the final. But then in the Bowerman Mile, he raced a little differently, didn't he? I think he was leading for the last 600 meters.
Yeah,
600 meters he was leading. So he's just he's proven to the world right now that he's for real, and that wasn't a fluke, and he can win in multiple ways right now. And he's one that, if you follow him on social or anything like that, nutrition's been a huge part of that for him.
I'll say this, we as runners, we need this. Like, we need a Jakob versus Kerr, for a while. The Tyson versus Holyfield. Like we need this, and it's so fun that we have it and we get to experience it and watch it. And I selfishly say we get to share this with them. Like, this is really cool.
Yeah. I told you guys, like, the 1500 at the Olympics this year is the event. Like, it is going to be the best event at the Olympics this year. Probably the most competitive. I mean, it is. Yeah, a lot of the sprints are fun. We're going to be watching Noah Lyles. We're going to be watching Sha'Carri Richardson. But I'm looking forward to that 1500. And I'm bummed. I mean, not bummed. I mean, we kind of. It kind of went the way that we thought it would go, right? With Ingebrigtsen and Kerr battling out for first and second. But Jared Naguse, he was there in third. He got third. Yeah. But it didn't feel like he really challenged, Like, I really didn't feel like he took a shot.
He was only, and
he was right behind him, yeah.
600ths of a second behind second place. Like,
right. But still, like, if you watch the race, though, it really just didn't look like he took a shot. And that's all subjective, right? That's just watching it. Who knows what he was actually going through, in the race. But I'm hoping that I'd love to see like a 3-way like photo finish at the Olympics between those three.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of me thinks that they didn't give 100% because the Olympics were coming up. And the trials are coming up in a couple weeks. So, I mean,
I don't know. I could see that in like a half marathon, like in the mile. I think they gave it their all.
Yeah, because Ingebrigtsen, he turned around less than a week later and set a world-leading time in the 1500. So,
where he dove at the finish?
Across the finich line to beat Kiplimo.
That was fun to watch too. It's just so fun to watch them. They're just. It's sad to say this because I was really excited about the marathon for the Olympics. I was excited to see, Kipchoge against Kiptum, right? But obviously that's not going to happen now, and I'm just less excited about it. I'm really excited about the 1500.
Sure.
And I think that's awesome that you say that because I feel like track in the past hasn't gotten all of this hype. So people were like just watching gymnastics because everybody knows that's fun. Everybody's watching the marathon because everybody knows that's fun. But now people are pumped about more events and, those athletes are going to get a chance to get all of that attention and,
Yeah. Especially the distance events, like normally, like I was saying earlier, the sprints get a lot of the attention. The Usain Bolts, the Michael Phelps in swimming, those type of people get a lot of the attention. But and Noah Lyles, still a big name, right? Still a pretty awesome athlete, and I'm looking forward to seeing him compete. But I'm telling you, that 1500 is going to be the race of the Olympics. Like, it's going to be
even awesome. When you talk about the Usain Bolts, for example, or go way back when to the Michael Johnsons and stuff like that, it was always them and then the rest of the field. Like, there was no Usain versus Michael or anything like that. We get the pleasure of having that right now in the distance world. And I don't know enough about the sprints to say that we don't have that there, but it's nothing that I'm excited to watch this go around. Sure. I haven't heard it, So even in the marathon right now, like, I'm still, obviously I'm biased because we're distance runners, so we know a little bit more about the field, but it's going to be fun to watch our Americans go out there and see what they can do and how they stack up against, some of the world's top-notch runners.
Yeah, because it's really been a while since we've done that in the distance events, right?
Yep.
I mean, Galen Rupp aside, I think we haven't really had anybody. I guess Centro won gold in 16, right? Yeah. Centro won gold in 16, but that's to talk about that race. So he won that one on a finishing kick alone. Like, if you go back and watch that race, it was very slow. I think his time was like 3:52, which in comparison to, we just watched these people run a mile in 347, 348, which is 100 meters more. So that 2016 1500 was a tactical race. And that's the other thing that I like about the 1500 right now is you don't see that. Like everybody's just going out there and giving it their all. They're not running tactfully. They're not trying to sit and wait to see who's got the best kick or waiting to make they're doing it tactfully, but they're giving it everything that they've got. You don't see those like slow races anymore.
And listen, so I'm reading on Olympics.com, they interviewed Josh Kerr at the end of his mile, and he said that he is nowhere near his peak. He said a 3:45 right now is good enough, but we've got to make some progress. So I
think he knows that. For all of the, again, Josh Kerr's been relatively quiet, even though they're jawing back and forth. He was really mouthy. Like when he came out of college at New Mexico, and his first couple years, he was bashing the Americans for not being good enough, and he was just really mouthy. And I didn't like him for a long time for that. But then it was last year, leading up to the World Championships, he kind of shut his mouth, and he told everybody, he was like, "I'm going to let my running do the talking." And so I think he knows that Jakob was also not at his best. He knows Jakob's coming off of an injury-riddled indoor season.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, that was good enough for now, but I think he knows, despite whatever compliments he may not want to give him, he knows that Jakob's going to be coming full steam come August.
Well, and I think Nagus is a season away from being like the trifecta of that competition. Like, I mean, he was 600 seconds away from him, but he's coming on strong. You know what I mean? Like he kind of, it hasn't been a slow development like Kerr and Jakob Ingebrigtsen has, where they've been building up to this. Like he kind of came out of nowhere basically a year and a half, 2 years ago. I don't want to say nowhere, but he was never mentioned in their name, their sentences before. Now he is, and I think he's going to be a contributing factor, a big competition piece for them going forward. I don't know if he will be, for the remainder of this season or for the Olympics, but I think growing seasons he will be.
I think my worry with Jared Nagus, and this is by watching him race for the past few years now, going back to his college days at Notre Dame. Go Irish. And then just this past year of him being, in that spotlight, being one of those top runners, I think he needs to develop that killer instinct. I don't think that he doesn't really seem like he's got that. Like he's still out there, he's having fun, which is all well and good. Like I'm glad that he's out there and he's doing well. He's setting American records and he's having fun. But if he's gonna get ahead of those guys, if he's gonna be up there with them, then he needs to have a killer instinct. He needs to not necessarily get jawing with them, but he's got to get out there and like I said, what I saw missing from the Prefontaine Classic, going for it, like getting up there next to him and then giving him all he's got. He really just kind of looked like he was content sitting back there and getting third. He looked like he was okay with that.
Yeah, I looked at that race in particular, and I'm glad you bring this up because I feel like he tried to run their race versus like, hey, let me figure this out for myself. Like he tried to do like, let me do what they're doing, and then I'll see if I can do something with 200 yards to go. And you can't do that. Like not if you want to win the race, you have to be willing to take a risk. Kerr took a risk, right? He's a kicker, and he went at 600 yards or 600 meters, and it worked for him. Because I don't think Jakob Ingebrigtsen expected that. In all honesty, I think that kind of threw him off.
Yep, I don't know.
I did also want to talk about at the Prefontaine Classic, the women's 10K track record got broken. And yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it. Because that was like a huge huge thing for women's track.
Mm-hmm.
While you're looking that up, I have a question on a name from the past. Is Mo Farah still racing?
I don't think so. I think he retired like last year, a year or two ago.
Did he?
I think so.
I mean, if he retired, then Rupp isn't far behind if he hasn't done it already, because they were training partners, from day one, basically.
Yeah. I don't see Rupp. I mean, he might go after it in this Olympic trials, but I don't see him going much longer than that. I mean, we saw what he did at not that he, he's still obviously elite, but we saw him at the Olympic trials for the marathon. So just didn't have it anymore, and he's had a great career, so can't really fault him too much.
Nope.
Okay, so I figured out the women's 10K. It was an athlete. It was a Kenyan named Beatrice Chebet. Yeah. So she ran the 10K in 28 minutes, 54 seconds, 14 milliseconds, which is insane to me.
20 minute 10K?
Huh?
Well, that's the bar, Carolyn, for you to shoot for. All right.
I'd say that's faster than the national average for a 5K. Or, well, maybe world average for a 5K.
Yeah. I mean, you can do it, though.
You're
young. You're in your 20s. You can do this.
Let me just get on that, man. It's like what, 4... Oh,
what will your coach tell you, Carolyn, if you call your coach tomorrow and say, you know what, I think my A goal is to break 29 minutes in the 10K?
I think she would be like, did you mistake that 2 for a 4? Let's go for 48 minutes in the 10K. Let's just sit down. But man, 28 minutes for God, that is a sub 5-minute pace for 6.2 miles.
Mm-hmm.
No. No, I'm good. That's less.
Pretty darn good.
God, literally, you could watch an episode of your favorite TV show, like, I don't know, The Office or Friends or whatever, and the time it took her to run a 10K, which is insane to me.
As opposed to 2 episodes.
Yeah.
As opposed to my 10K time, which is 2 episodes, yes.
If you're going to watch The Office and compare it, it's got to be the 5K race episode. All right.
Someone told me that they're still doing the Scranton 5K, and people dress up like Office characters and, wear all the shirts and eat pasta beforehand. It's a great time.
Sounds like it, yeah.
I would do it if I was up there. I'm going to look it up and see.
Oh, yes, it's called the Office 5K. It will next be held in spring 2025 in downtown Scranton.
Do they serve you chicken Alfredo pasta?
You know what? That's a good question. I'm trying to find that out, man.
And do you get a lamp as your award if you win?
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to find... I don't know if they give you... They should give you pasta beforehand. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that.
But you run past all of the iconic Office locations. I'm in.
Oh, man.
$25 for pre-registered runners and walkers. Sign me up.
I think I told you guys I was never much of an Office watcher. So
I wasn't when it was actually on. I have become one now that it's just you can watch it anytime you want, and it's fun. I like it. The first season was a little like, it's all right, but then second season it gets pretty good.
See, that's what I tell everybody about Parks and Rec too. You have to get through the first season because the first season is just awful. and then from there on, it's hilarious.
Can we go? Okay, I know we're not talking about running related stuff, but so I don't watch Saturday Night Live when it's actually on, but I watch it again. The same thing. I'll watch reruns or YouTube clips of it. And the latest skit that has the Beavis and Butthead,
Ryan Gosling, yeah.
it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. I watch it on, like, I'll go to bed and I'll go, let's throw on the Beavis and Butthead SNL skit just real quick. Have you seen it, Carolyn?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god.
That's one of those things. Carolyn will be on here like, oh, I got dumber because I watched that.
Well, you won't understand it if you don't actually know Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, if you didn't actually watch Beavis and Butthead, it's a little harder to understand, right?
I mean, I know who both of those characters are. So
yeah, you were a little young whenever Beavis and Butthead was out. You probably
yeah.
We weren't even allowed to watch it when I was growing up. Like, I watched it like in my college. Yeah, they wouldn't let us watch it, my parents. But
right,
they also didn't let us watch The Simpsons growing up either. So
I hate The Simpsons. It's just that kind of slapstick cartoon stuff. I'm like, I get nothing from that. I
mean, my wife's a bigger Simpsons fan than I am, but I feel like Simpsons is just it's I don't know. You can't not like it. Like you watch an episode, it's entertaining. Like I just threw on a couple episodes yesterday.
You know what's fun? So my maiden name is McDuff. Okay, so I had multiple people coming up to me when I was growing up. They're like, "Have you seen The Simpsons?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "They drink Duff beer on there."
Duff
and I
beer.
was like, "Cool, great." But I would get that because that's, more than half of my maiden name. And
Duff beer. Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to not watch this show even harder.
Well, throw the Beavis and Butthead SNL skit on your list of shows and movies that you're never going to watch because they were recommended by Jake and Chase.
Oh,
okay?
Come on. I started, crap. What's oh, shoot. One of the movies you recommended, I actually started.
Without Limits?
That one. Because it's on Disney Plus. So I started watching it.
No, it's
and
not.
I think I ended up having to go to sleep because it was just what I put on.
It's not on Disney Plus, so I have a feeling you watched Run McFarlane.
No, sorry. It was on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that one's is great. You should finish that.
So you started watching the greatest running movie. So you started watching the greatest running movie ever. Continue.
I did, and that's it. I mean, I gotta finish it, man. I need to. Yeah, if it's on Prime, that's fine. I can get on my spin bike that I recently purchased and just start watching it.
There you go. Well, I'm proud of you for at least putting it in your viewing cart on Amazon there. That's a step in the right direction.
So, and I kind of roped my husband in when we started watching it because we're both big Billy Crudup fans.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Big Billy Crudup fans.
So so obviously you haven't watched Without Limits. What's your favorite Billy Crudup movie? Again, we're not talking about.
It's actually The Morning Show on Apple TV.
Oh, okay. I haven't actually watched that yet. So Without Limits came out shortly after Almost Famous, and Almost Famous is probably it's in my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
I have not seen that.
Oh my gosh.
You're killing me, Karen.
Killing me. And you're a Billy Crudup fan? Come on. That was like his role.
Watch The Morning Show and get back to me because that man is
like
awesome.
That, like him in Almost Famous, Without Limits, and then seeing his blue wang hanging out in Watchmen are like the 3 best things that you can see on cinema.
And by that look alone, that means Carolyn has not seen The Watchmen.
You've not seen The Watchmen either?
I don't. My mom listens to this podcast, so I'm trying to make sure. I'm like, what is the blue? The blue.
It's
Well,
just comic book
Carolyn's,
accuracy is all it is.
yeah, Carolyn's mom, if you could please educate your daughter on the importance of movie watching, especially when she claims to be a fan of an actor and apparently has not seen any of his movies.
I've seen this television show for the past like 5 years. Okay. God. You know what?
Oh,
In the morning show earned him a 2020 Primetime Emmy and a 2024 Critics' Choice Television Award.
Wait, isn't that on Apple TV?
Yes.
So how does it get a primetime Emmy?
I don't know. It was during COVID, so maybe they kind of made exceptions.
Okay. I guess I can get on board with that. I'm just confused. Okay.
for the listener, this is RunTok Live, aka Movie Talk Live.
Billy
Apparently.
Crudup was Steve Prefontaine in Without Limits, so that is how this is all tied to running. Oh.
Do we know what did Billy Crudup actually have to go through some kind of running training regimen to play Prefontaine in that movie? And what did that look like? I've never read up on it, so I'm actually curious.
The only like information I know, I've shared it on here and with you guys before, is that Tom Cruise was originally supposed to play Steve Prefontaine, and Billy Crudup was, I think, supposed to play Billy Moore or one of the other Oregon Duck characters. But then when they got on set, or when they met to do like a reading or something, Tom looked at this is how the story goes, is that Tom looked at Billy and said, he looks exactly like Steve Prefontaine. He needs to lead this role. So that's how I understand it anyway.
How different would that movie have been if Tom Cruise was Steve Prefontaine?
I think he could have pulled it off. I mean, Prefontaine was just like a cocky, arrogant guy. So, you know, the same the same can be said for Tom Cruise. And don't get me wrong, Robert Downey Jr. was epic, and I don't want to ever replace him. But Tom Cruise was originally supposed to be Tony Stark in Iron Man, not Robert Downey Jr. And that would have been good because, like I said, Tom Cruise can play that cocky, arrogant, billionaire kind of guy. So I think it would have been all right. But I'm glad it went to Billy Crudup.
I'm very glad too. It's hard for me to imagine now that we've seen it so many times the way it turned out. Yeah. It's just hard to be like, Tom Cruise playing Prefontaine. But then there's all the memes out there and all the jokes out there how Tom runs in every single movie that he does. So
yep.
I want to say he pronates. So.
Well, yeah, probably.
Yeah. He runs fast.
Yeah.
At least the camera makes him look like he's running fast. So.
Yeah, well, camera can do everything. So.
He's really good at dodging bullets, and he's really good at running away from avalanches and falling buildings, and
whatever entails an impossible mission, right?
Yeah, maybe that's the trick to running, guys. We need to just use our imagination. Imagine we're getting chased by secret agents, or bombs are going off around us and we got to run fast. Some dust storm in the middle of Egypt is coming to get us if we don't run. Like all those things, we got to do it. All right, enough picking on Carolyn about her movie watching. We do that enough with Brooke's stuff, so. And we can't do that because we just talked about how Kerr won the Bowerman Mile. So anyways.
I was checking to see if my local library or the Libby app had pre on loan, so I could actually start reading about Steve Prefontaine.
The what?
There's a book. There's a book called Pre.
Yes, which is the story.
No. The what app?
It's the Libby app. It's like an online library. And you can check out books, audiobooks, magazines, and then books for Kindle. So you just type in the title and I mean, you have to have a library card, but if it's available at any library, let's say there's a library anywhere in Dallas, whatever, I don't have to go to that specific library. I can just download or like see if it's on Libby and then get the audiobook right there.
So for our young listeners, a library is this place that's in the city that has lots of books on shelves that you can actually borrow without getting in trouble. It's really crazy, but
So you can also, I discovered this earlier on in the year, Spotify has audiobooks, and if you have a Spotify premium account, you can listen to up to 15 hours a month of audiobooks, which isn't really a whole lot, especially if you're somebody like me who listens to your audiobooks on double speed. That time doesn't get cut in half. You get 7.5 hours at that point. So I was I get really into a book these days, and you can buy extra minutes, and those bank for you, but the 15 hours resets every month.
speaking of books, I was telling Chase before we started recording, I recently acquired 4 new books that actually just came in the mail 2 days ago. I'll as I will read these. As I read these, I will let you guys know. I'll give you my reviews on them. But I've got Let Your Mind Run by Dina Castor. So I'm excited to do this book.
I want to read
I've got this one I'm really excited about. It's called You Only Faster. And this was recommended by the RRCA coaching. So this is training plans to help you train smarter and run faster. And it's just a bunch of training plans that are put in here. And then I got the 3rd edition of Advanced Marathoning. And then I got, this one's a pretty common one. It's called Daniel's Running Formula. There's a ton of versions of this book that are out there.
I have that one.
Yeah. So I've seen and read bits and pieces of the other versions, but I will go through this. And it's just more training plan talk, essentially, through it. All marathon related, though, except for Let Your Mind Run, which is ultra.
I don't do a lot of like nonfiction reading. I mostly do. I mean, I know that those are educational books.
Yeah,
but
So one of the main books that helped get me out of my burnout this past year was How Bad Do You Want It by Matt Fitzgerald.
Yep.
Like if you want to be completely on fire for running and start working on, mental toughness, this is, for the listener as well, read that book. Because, and it's a pretty fast audiobook if you want to, listen to it on a run. But every chapter is a story of an athlete that started from nothing. Maybe they're a para-athlete or, just a regular person on the street. And they started, running, biking, swimming, whatever. And it shows that, it leads you up to their success, lessons that they learned. It just, and I believe, I want to say a little of Prefontaine's story is in that. But it's a powerful book.
Yeah, I actually have a hard copy version of that book. And it is a good book. And then another, if you like that one, Carolyn, or the listeners, Run the Mile You're In is another good book. It's actually by Ryan Hall. And that one's got, if you like that book, you'll like this book as well.
Okay, let me see if my library has it. Oh, it's not in my library's catalog. That's fun. So I'll probably see if it's on Spotify.
I think the last non-fiction book I read was the 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. But outside of that, I really don't read a whole lot of nonfiction. It just doesn't. I don't know if it's ADHD kicking in or what, but it just doesn't keep my attention. But I'll look into some of those.
Well, and Run the Mile You're In is a 5-hour audiobook, which I feel like is...
That's not bad.
Huh?
Yeah, that's not bad. That's pretty good.
It's really not. Yeah, it's really not.
Well, on double speed for Chase, that's 2.5 hours.
It's
so.
2.5 hours. at you. Long run, man.
I love listening to so I do actually listen to audiobooks at double speed. I don't advise anybody to just jump straight to double speed, right? Like just kind of like running, you got to work your way up to it. But it does kind of cut down on like the dead time that, some of the audiobook narrators are kind of blah a little bit at times. So when you listen to them faster, it gets the book to go by a little quicker. It cuts down on some of that dead time. But I did start out, I went to like 1.25 and then 1.5, worked my way up. And now I can't listen to audiobooks at regular speed. It just sounds funny.
I don't think I've ever listened. I never even thought to listen to it at a faster speed than normal. So never even crossed my mind. But I might try it just to see. Maybe I'll run faster.
Maybe.
I mean, your max heart rate's gonna go up, man. So expect that one. Jeez.
Alyssa, I'm gonna finish my run and I'll be talking in double speed to everybody.
Good luck with that, my friend.
Well, I love the book recommendations.
Sure. I think the last few running books, I think we kind of discussed it on the last episode when we were talking about movies, but Chris Lear, he was an author that followed the Colorado Buffaloes back in 96, 97, the year that one of their athletes was in a fatal car accident and died. They were the top team in the country, the Colorado Buffaloes. Their book is called Running with the Buffaloes, and they still won the national championship that year. So one of their top runners was unfortunately in a car accident, but it's a really good story. And then he wrote another book chronicling Alan Webb's freshman year at Michigan after he broke the high school record for the mile.
I've seen that book. I've never read it, but I've seen it around.
Mm-hmm. I think it's called Sub 4, maybe.
Interesting. Speaking of Sub 4, what do you think Josh, Jakob, and Yared are going to be fighting for? What time do you think that they're going to hit at the Olympics?
For the 1500, because that's what they run at the Olympics, right? It's not a mile.
Yeah.
327. I think 326 wins it, and they're going to be all around 326, 327. What's the world record? I think it's 24, 25, isn't it? Hikam El Garouche? Probably.
Yeah, a lot of it's going to depend on... maybe the weather will have an effect on this. I mean, this is the outdoor track. It is summertime. You typically don't run your best times.
Mm-hmm. So Hikam El Garouche holds the world record in the mile and the 1500. What is the time?
I think it's 326.
326?
On July 14th, 1998.
Okay.
But if you find something else, I can totally be stand corrected.
Yeah, it is 326 by Hisham.
Okay.
Morocco, 1998.
So yeah, I think they're all going to be knocking on that door come the Olympics. Maybe get it, maybe not. I don't know. If you would have asked me, at the Tokyo Olympics, I would have guessed that Jakob would have broken that time by now, but it hadn't happened yet. So
it's gonna be fun. There's so many reasons to watch it this time. I mean, regardless, it's going to be entertaining and fun to watch.
What other events are we looking forward to as far as track and field goes in the Paris Olympics? I know I mentioned Noah Lyles and Sha'Carri Richardson.
I mean, it's not track and field, but I jokingly say this, but I'm also serious. I really want to see the breakdancing competition.
Yes.
I've heard nothing other than the fact that it's going to exist and it's going to happen. I haven't seen the teams or anything. But
when is Peacock going to be showing those trials, huh? When
Right?
are those trials happening?
They're going to be like, go to your local club.
No, it's gonna be. They'll probably turn it into the next Step Up movie, and then that'll be the trials.
Have you ever said, like, you can look them up? They've got some like professional breakdancing. They're like elite stuff. Like, it's like a tricked out stage and teams of like 50 people that all have to be on the same rhythm. Like, it's crazy.
And from what I've seen, Asia, what the Asia countries are going to dominate. And they're just going to win that. It's good, but it's going to be so much fun. I love watching it. I love watching pop locking, like dancing. Like, it's so incredible to see people do that with their body.
So, fun fact, that is actually what the first person that I ever subscribed to on TikTok was a dancer. I don't know what, I can't remember what actually took me there, if I clicked a link or something, but they were doing the cool, I don't know if you've ever seen the dancers on TikTok, but they do the cool like effects with the camera, and they stand behind each other, and anyway, I was enthralled by it. Next thing I knew, I was just watching dancing videos on TikTok, and then somehow I ran into running. I don't know.
Well, and not to circle this back around to movies, but there's a new documentary on Netflix right now about the TikTok dance cult.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that or heard about that?
No.
Yeah, it's a real thing. There was actually a legit, what was called like the 7M.
7M.
Yeah, 7M TikTok dance cult. And it talks about how this guy in LA has a church, but he also created like a dance organization, and then he sucked all these young dancers in from TikTok and slowly like segregated them from their families, and then turned it into a cult. And so all these videos that you're watching on TikTok of dancers, a lot of them were actually 7M dancers that were part of this cult. And so they turned it into a documentary on Netflix. So maybe this first person that you followed might have been one of the original 7M.
I don't think so. But that's the kind of shit that's getting TikTok banned. Come on now. Cult crap.
Yeah, it's crazy. It just went on Netflix too.
I don't have Netflix right now. We just got Paramount Plus for the summer. Because we want to watch the Yellowstone spinoffs. So,
do you guys have AT&T as your phone service?
No.
So, if you have AT&T as your phone service, you get free HBO Max.
Okay.
Really?
Well, yeah. Paramount Plus is free for the summer. That's why we got it for the summer. So, with our, I think it's one of our credit cards. So, yeah.
Cool.
But I want to get Netflix. We keep talking about movies, sorry. But I want to watch the Rebel Moon movies on Netflix soon. So.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen the second one yet. I got to do that. Oh, no, well, I did see the second.
I'm torn because I want to watch them, but I know in August, Zack Snyder's they're going to release the rated R versions of those movies, the Zack Snyder director's cut. So maybe I'll just wait and watch those.
I will tell you, they're really good. Anything with Zack Snyder, Zack Snyder creates, I'm going, if his hand was touched, if he touched it in any way, I'm going to watch it. For sure. But it is, it's a little too Star Wars-y for me. Like I know that was the intent, right? Like I know the story behind it and where Rebel Moon came from, because he tried to do a Star Wars movie, they wouldn't let him, so he created his own universe. But you could definitely tell, like, I almost feel like it was a shot at Star Wars. Like, all right, you're not gonna let me do a Star Wars movie? Well, I'm gonna rip off some Star Wars stuff then. And there's literally lightsabers in the movie. Like,
yeah, cool.
But it's really good. Like, you can't. Oh, I'm sorry. We could do a whole podcast on Zack Snyder.
We always talk about this. Is like we talked about movies in the last one too. we're movie buffs just as much as we are running fans. So what can we say?
2 of the 3 of us are movie buffs. Me and Carolyn.
So the Olympic event I'm most looking forward to.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I have two. Pole vaulting.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay. I'm a big Katie Moon fan. She won gold in Tokyo.
Okay.
And she is so funny, so sweet. So I really want to see if she can redo her gold or like get gold again.
Sure. What was her name again?
Katie Moon.
Okay. Yeah, I admit I don't know a whole lot about the women's side of pole vaulting, but of course on the men's side you got Mondo Duplantis, who's like the GOAT. I mean, no debate, GOAT. He's the top rated track athlete. If you like, so there is a website where you can go worldathletics.com and you can see the rankings, and he's the top because he hasn't lost in forever and he keeps breaking his own world record like every time he competes.
I'm ashamed to say it, he's one of the few names that I know outside of running events within track and field. I need to change that, by the way. I need to study more and look into more field events.
So Kate Moon, she won the Olympic gold medal in Tokyo. What's she been doing since?
She's been doing a lot of competitions. Let me see if I can find what she's up to. A lot of, competitions at colleges, a lot of world competition. She kind of put herself on the map too, because when Team USA announced their track and field uniforms a couple months ago, Katie spoke out. So she got a lot of support that way. Because she's like, I'm not going to wear that. Let's see. She was recently at Eugene.
For pre-classic?
Yep. On May 25th.
I gotta say, I think pole vaulting is so cool because they can compete in malls. like I don't know if you've seen those videos. There's a lot of pole vaulting competitions that happen in like malls because they can go like 3 stories up and whatnot. So that's always fun to watch. I just like seeing like people that are in like on the second floor of malls or like standing on an escalator or something or stairway or something. And they're watching these people do the pole vaulting. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've never actually seen that. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Oh man, yeah, dude, check that out. They do look up pole vaulting competitions in malls. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that, and then I'm also excited for race walking.
Race walking.
We've talked about that.
It's literally, it is the funniest sport on the planet, but it is.
Nothing against race walkers, by the way. It's just
No, I want to be one.
Respect.
Oh my god, no, they can easily. I think last year they did I think they did a sub 3 hour. The men did a sub 3 hour race walk.
We had talked about it, and I don't remember what race. It was an event that we talked about. Maybe it was, I don't remember what it was, but we talked about it on one of our episodes and just how amazed we were at the race walking time that was still faster for the half marathon, I think it was. Or it was close to a half marathon. It was like 12 miles and something.
Yeah.
Faster than most people race. Yeah, faster than most people race like that time legitly, right? The recreational runner, if you want to call it that.
So
I like to watch it too. More so I'm just mesmerized by watching them move the way they move and do it.
Hips don't lie.
We do have a race walk, and I don't know him, but we do have a race walker here on Fleming Island, Florida, where I live, that practices, consistently, and they compete nationally. I'm gonna have to buckle down and really figure out who this person is, though. The next time I see him, you feel weird, like you don't want to stop them when they're like, especially when they're doing what they're doing. Like I don't know, like do I stop them and try to talk to him, or do I drive next to him and just have a conversation while he's doing it? I don't know. So.
God. Well, the world record right now is 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 32 seconds for a 20K race walk.
It's impressive. Yeah.
Right?
So I have a random question. I know we're getting close to time here, guys, but I got to ask this. We're talking about the Olympics. We're talking about what's our favorite, event that we're looking forward to. What is an event that you would like to see go into the Olympics that isn't in it, even if it's a made-up one? Because I got one,
Okay.
and I want to know if it's a thing. But you go ahead, Carolyn.
I would like to see NASCAR. Because, I mean, that's something that everybody in the world could participate in. And I just think it would be so fun.
The problem with that, I'm gonna pick it apart. Number one, the NASCAR track and stadium, like that's a whole separate thing that they'd have to build out to make that happen. So that's one tough part. But I'm about to throw something even weirder out, so I can't knock it. So, NASCAR is big, but I don't know if it's big everywhere, though. Is it? Like,
it's mostly a U.S. thing, and then you don't see a whole lot of like foreign NASCAR athletes. I think Formula One is a lot more bigger in like the world. But some sort of automotive racing, maybe go-karts. Go-karts would be cool. Go-karts would be awesome.
Just like the cool, like I want to see Cool Running go-kart style. Like they have to build their go-kart and then
build their own go-kart. That's part of the competition.
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna go to running, but I want to see a backwards running race. If we got race walking, I want to see backwards running.
Where does that even happen anywhere?
No, let's make it happen.
So I think you got to make it happen before you can throw it in as an Olympic event, right?
Listen, I'm about to throw out a movie that I know Carolyn hasn't seen, but if they could do that with basketball, right? then we could do backwards running. Look, she's googling it.
If you didn't like Idiocracy, you're not gonna watch basketball. Trust me.
I'm 100% not.
It's made by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, right?
Yep.
Did I get those names right? Did I get them mixed up? Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Basketball. Just basketball, but throw an E in there between the S and the K.
There you go.
Oh my lord.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now you gotta watch it. But anyways,
41% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think not.
There's been worse movies, okay? So
41% is not that bad.
Go watch some South Park and then go watch some basketball.
So. I hate South Park. This is
a lot of South Park on
Paramount
Plus.
So bad.
I could just see backwards running, make it. You know what? Let's make a race. I'm gonna do a TikTok competition. I want to do a TikTok virtual backwards running 1 mile. We'll start with 1 mile. Go small. Let's see if it turns into something.
I don't know what I would skee ball. Olympic skee ball.
Okay.
Listen, let's get some field day events. I want to see people doing the egg race.
Sack race.
Yeah, 3-legged race.
3-legged race.
Yeah, the beer mile. Let's come on.
That would be there we go. Let's get a beer mile in there. Let's get a beer mile.
That could and should, because you do know the sponsorships that how much money the Olympics will make just getting a beer sponsor for the beer mile.
Or just competitive eating, get Joey Chestnut in there throwing down some hot dogs, man. He would have been
Frankfurt's, man. That's another sponsor opportunity.
If they had competitive eating in the Olympics, Joey Chestnut would be rivaling Michael Phelps right now.
I want to throw if they did some of those, I would go for it. I have no shot making the Olympic team in the marathon or the mile, but it's a real possibility to do, a beanbag race or wheelbarrow race or competitive eat. Like, I don't know if I could do competitive eating, but something else that the average Joe has a shot at. Why not? Get that Olympic gold medal. Anyways, wishful thinking, but you never know.
Never know.
What did the Olympics start with? Like, it was just a few events, right? Back in the Greek days, right? And now look at what it's gone to.
I think it was only like running and wrestling, right?
Yeah,
They probably did. I think they did some weight throwing stuff. Like, it was a lot of athletics, a lot of basic track and field stuff. And I think wrestling. I think that was the other one, which I think they've removed wrestling, right, from the Olympics. I don't think that's a thing anymore.
They have different martial arts.
I was gonna say, don't they have like judo, jiu-jitsu? Like they have something like that there.
Yeah, I thought I read somewhere that, and I could be wrong on that, but
I don't know.
that just seemed like a ridiculous one to, like, that's one of the most basic sports. Like, why would you want to remove wrestling? That's silly.
One of the original ones.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, I could see that. If I could, there's the like strongman competition. I feel like would be another Olympic type of sport.
Yeah.
Don't they have weightlifting in the Olympics?
Weightlifting, but like you're talking about like a strong, like flipping tires and
yeah, the strongman competition is where they pull the cars and
right.
the weighted balls and all that stuff. Like it, and it's fun to watch. Like I'm entertained when I watch that stuff.
Yeah.
Telephone book ripping. Oh wait, there's no telephone books anymore. Crap.
No, they're at the library. The Carolyn library. So.
Got to get on the Libby app. Make sure they catch your phone.
All right, guys. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens at the Olympics. Every year they add something different.
Right. Breakdancing. Well, next one. Breakdancing track and field.
Right? Let's just combine it all. Breakdancing track, the breakdancing mile, beer mile with hurdles. Like, let's just throw it all together in one big race.
The ultimate, what would you call, obviously a decathlon is 10 events. What would you call like 100 events? And somebody that competes in every single Olympic event.
Right? Oh, man. All right, guys. I think we're at about time.
I'd say so, yeah.
It's been fun.
Oh.
Carolyn, you want to sign us off for the night?
Yes. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of RunTok Live. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. All of that at RunTok Live. You can email us at runtalklive@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at Carolyn M. Levinway and then TikTok at Carolyn McDuff. Chase, where can people find you?
Just check out my link tree, Chaser No Pacer link tree. Everything's there. So, Chaser No Pacer pretty much everywhere.
Yep. And same here. Cultural Runner pretty much everywhere. Check out the link tree. Check out Chase's dog. And again, people listening are going, what?
You'll see it on YouTube. Check it out on YouTube.
This has been fun, guys.
Alrighty. We'll see you on the next episode of RunTok Live.
Talk to you later.
Deuces.